Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I want to have a discussion on flashlights. All right, there's something that I feel is grossly overlooked and or misunderstood about flashlights. All right, that I think is very important if you are in the market to buy one. Now, I'm not talking about running to the dollar store and getting a flashlight in case the power goes out. Okay, most people don't care about stuff like that. They don't get very deeply involved in what type of flashlight. Clearly, if you're watching the video, you're probably a gearhead. You probably carry a light, maybe in your EDC, or maybe you just have, a certain level of preparedness in mind and you store a pretty decent flashlight in case there is an emergency. Or you can be all the way up to a flashaholic. I mean, this is a hobby within itself. Believe it or not, people are super into flashlights. Imagine, if you're watching a video and you have a huge knife collection or you have a huge gun collection. Well, imagine replacing all those with flashlights and you obsess over flashlights. Believe it or not, there are thousands of people who are like that. Flashlights are their main hobby. It's what they do day in and day out. They love them. They want them as bright as possible. They do custom-made flashlights, $1,000 flashlights. I mean, it's a hobby. If you're one of those people, you already know everything I'm going to say. This video is not for that particular person. This video is for the average gearhead, the average person that watches these YouTube videos and they go, oh, cool, I'm going to start carrying a knife. I'm going to start carrying a flashlight, and you find it's useful, and those are good, helpful tools for you, day in and day out, right? So let's first talk about the different types of people buying flashlights. The first person, which is previously mentioned, run to the dollar store, grab a flashlight so you can keep it in the junk drawer for when the power goes out. This is the common citizen, right? There's a cheap flashlight somewhere in the house, the batteries in it are probably dead, they're very unprepared, and when they actually do need it, it probably won't even work. All right, that's the very base level. And it goes all the way up to the person who flashlights are their hobby. CandlePowerForums.com. That is an online forum for flashaholics. That's such a thing. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people in the world that obsess over flashlights. Every little detail. That is their hobby. It's what they do. They're very good at it, and they know everything there is to know about them. I'm talking about people who spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on custom-made flashlights. We're talking about like production flashlights, which is everything on the table here is a company making a production flashlight. They're making hundreds or thousands of them. You can go online and buy it. No, just like knives. These people are buying $700 flashlights, $1,000 flashlight, so they're very much in the hobby. So this video is really for someone in between, someone who cares enough to know and understand their gear a little bit more, but anyone who's buying a custom flashlight, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. So the first thing I want to talk about here is output and price. That is usually what most of you guys focus on. How bright is it going to be? How much is it going to cost me? And that's kind of where you weigh the pros and cons. Okay, this is a $50 light and I'm getting 500 lumens. Well, hey, check out this light. This one's $40, it's a little cheaper, and it's 700 lumens. Oh, that seems great, right? There's that kind of person, which there's nothing wrong with at all. You're buying it, you're turning it on and off, you don't really care about different features, you don't care so much about battery source or anything like that. Then you step up another level where people are actually looking at the specifications. For example, okay, this light is 500 lumens for an hour runtime on high. Okay, that person, now we're getting closer to what I'm talking about here. You care about the specs. You have an understanding that this particular battery will last this particular length of time, and that matters to you. Okay, you want the 500 lumen flashlight to last at least, let's say, an hour. Now you step up one level from that. This is something I feel is extremely overlooked, and that is the fact that the high output on a flashlight never stays that high for the duration of the runtime. All right, that's the biggest point I want to make in this video. For example, if you see a flashlight and it says it's 1,000 lumens and the runtime on a fully charged battery is an hour, you are not going to have 1,000 lumens for an hour. It's just something that does not happen. That battery does not hold that power for that long. So it drops off dramatically. What prompted me to make this video is I did a review on the ThruNite TH30. And that one is like, I think 3,350 lumens for the first 2 minutes. And that might confuse people and say, hey, how can they do that? It's totally misleading. That's bullcrap. I carry this flashlight and it's, 600 lumens for whatever. It's not. That's the point I'm trying to get across here is every single flashlight drops off on that. That energy is not enough to keep that max output the entire duration of the runtime. So let's say you have a flashlight that is 2,000 lumens. Well, maybe it'll be 2,000 lumens for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Then it drops down to 1,500 lumens, right? Maybe for the last 20 minutes, it goes all the way down to 50 lumens, So it's not the full output the entire time that it's on. It's just an important thing to note because different flashlights do fluctuate. Some of those high outputs will last longer. There's so many factors here, the type of battery, even like let's say an 18650, a lithium battery, there's different capacities. If it's a 3000 milliamp hour battery, it's going to hold a little more energy than a 2500 milliamp hour battery, and then you have the type of LEDs. So there's a lot of details in this as to, what lights last, how long on what output. So it's just something I wanted to make a video on and just talk about briefly. If you were a little confused by the whole thing, the gist of it is that when you see a light that says X amount of lumens for X amount of time, it's only in the beginning. It only lasts that bright for a little bit of time, and then it drops down as the energy in the battery drops down. It's very different than, let's say, your house lights. You turn on your living room light or your bedroom light, that's going to be the same brightness as long as you have power going to your house. It's an unlimited source of power until you shut that light off, right? Or unless the power goes out. When you're talking about a handheld flashlight, you have a limited source of power. So that battery it's in there, it doesn't matter what kind it is, doesn't matter how many there are, it's not going to be able to disperse the exact same amount of energy the entire time and then all of a sudden deplete completely. So really the point of this video and the message I'm trying to get across is if you're looking for a new tactical light, or an EDC light, care about the details and really know what you're buying. What are you getting for your money? If this light is 1000 lumens and this light's 500 lumens, you automatically would assume the 1000 lumen light is better. But if that only lasts 5 minutes, whereas the 500 lumen light lasts 3 hours, 4 hours, it might change your decision on which light to get. So not only are you looking at, different modes you may or may not use, not only are you looking at how bright it can be, you're looking at how long it's going to last that bright. Okay, it's an important factor. But just understand that all handheld flashlights like this, they will slowly die the entire time that it's on. All right, so it's pretty interesting. A lot of people who I know who carry flashlights, what's so common is you buy a flashlight like this, you carry it every day. Uh-oh, you drop something behind the couch. All right, so you turn the flashlight on for 20 seconds. It's nice and bright. You grab your thing, and then you're done. Most people don't leave a flashlight on for more than a minute. It's actually pretty uncommon, unless you're using it for work or something. If you're a security guard or you have some kind of, job that requires you to have a flashlight on for longer durations of time, maybe a plumber or something along those lines. But yeah, the average person, you're carrying it, the battery dies, you replace the battery, but you're using it for like seconds at a time, 5 seconds, 20 seconds, maybe a minute, So these are things that you don't really think about and usually don't care about. And if that's the case, that's fine. Then any flashlight's good. It's basically whatever's the brightest thing in your price range. But if you are considering buying a flashlight and you're going to use it long term and you're going to use it, or you want to use it for emergency situations, that's when the details matter. And that's when I think it's important to start learning a little bit more about it so you can make a better guess as to which one would work good for you. So anyway, just trying to get the message across, because it might save some people money, it might save you some aggravation. Maybe you have an assumption as to what your flashlight is capable of and it just doesn't reach that capability. So maybe you want to look into something else. And vice versa, if you don't really care and you just want to turn a flashlight on for a couple seconds to use it every now and again, then maybe you'll save a lot of money by getting a cheaper one. You don't necessarily have to buy an expensive, latest and greatest thing. So everyone's needs are different. There are thousands of different flashlights on the market. The one thing they all do is allow you to see when it's dark, right? That's the whole purpose of it. In some situations, the dollar store flashlight will work totally fine. In other situations, you might have to spend $200 or $300 to get that flashlight that's going to get the job done. Just all depends. But at least now you're armed with some more information about the whole thing. Hopefully it sparks some interest in a couple of you out there that like flashlights and maybe want to dive deeper into the whole world of them. Like I said, pretty much most manufacturers' websites do have those charts, those output charts, and they're graphs, and it'll show you like, let's say the left column here is the lumens, right? 0 lumens here, 1000 lumens here, and then the bottom line across would be the time. So 10 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, and you'll actually see, because they use machines to measure this light, you'll see how it drops off and about how long the different modes will last. So you have a better understanding of what your gear is actually capable of. So I will leave you guys with this. Hopefully the video was helpful to a couple people out there. I know there's plenty of you guys that already know all these things, but there's always people who don't, and there's always people who are interested in learning. And for me, that's worth taking the time to talk about it. A common comment I'll see on like videos, if I do a video on something that's really simple, you know, it should be common sense. People go, oh, duh, who doesn't know that? You must be dumb if you didn't know that. Well, you're not dumb for not knowing it. You just didn't know it. This is not stuff you learn in school. This is not basic education. Most people go an entire lifetime, never need to know this kind of stuff. So really, you don't know it until you do. I'll leave it at that. So nothing's really dumb if it's helping people. So that's all. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.